Hi, you're listening to Abacadabra Radio. I'm Abby, your host, and on this podcast, we talk about manifestations, meditations, timeline jumping, tarot card insights, astrological insights, literally whatever comes up. Happy to have you guys here for the ride.
Hello, everybody. Here we are, back with another episode. This is a first because it's 3:30 in the morning as I'm recording this. I can't sleep, and that's fine. And I'm just gonna do a little episode now on a topic that I think is pretty important when it comes to manifestation and timeline jumping and creating a reality that you want to live. So we're just going to dive in. Your mental diet is the most important when it comes to all of this sort of stuff. And by mental diet, I mean the things that you say to yourself, the things that you speak to yourself, the things that you think about yourself and your reality, and then the things that you intake as well. Like, the things that I've talked about subconscious reprogramming, and I think that that's really important because it's a great way to change your inner dialogue that you might not realize is always running, but we do have an inner dialogue that is always running. So you want to make sure that that's conducive to like a good life and creating good stuff and being your own captain of your reality. So that's why I encourage people to like listen to subliminals or affirmations or just, I even saw on TikTok that some people will watch or have on television like people, like shows where people live like luxurious lives. Like, I don't know, like maybe the Kardashians or other shows where people are just living their best life, because that's a really good way to subconsciously program that you live a really good life. And I've heard that works for people. For me, I just like doing the affirmations and subliminals, but whatever's going to work for you is awesome. So definitely try that out, because when we're sleeping and our subconscious is working, that's the time that you like really need to make sure that you're thinking the best stuff, and it's where like your subconscious is always running in the background, but it's something that we kind of look past a lot because we don't realize it. So it's those thoughts that are just running while you're like driving and you're on autopilot, when you're sleeping, when you're not like really consciously thinking, obviously, because it's subconscious, below the consciousness. And you have a really good opportunity to create and get yourself in the like mindset of creating. So if you can get yourself in the mindset of creating really epic shit for your life, subconsciously, it's going to make your conscious reality all the better. So that's why I talk about that. And then that's a really good way to reprogram your belief system, because if your subconscious doesn't believe something, that's what's running the majority of the time. So if your affirmations and your subconscious beliefs don't line up, it's going to be really hard to bring those affirmations that you're saying like to actual reality. So keep that in mind. Definitely don't overlook the power of your subconscious. It's actually like one of the most powerful things when it comes to creating your reality. And then look at the affirmations you're saying or the things that you're saying about yourself. I feel like nowadays self-deprecating humor has become mainstream, and that's fine. It's funny. I do that shit sometimes too. But I also need to realize, like, yeah, it's funny to like shit on yourself sometimes, but like, is it healthy mentally to shit on yourself sometimes? Probably not. And if you don't have to do it, you don't have to do it. Like, the things that you say to yourself matter. So if you're really into like negging yourself, knock it off. It's not helping you. Besides coping, like if you do that, do you do it because it's like a mask? Do you do it because it's easier for you to neg yourself than to have reality neg you, and you can just, if you beat reality or someone else to the punchline of saying something bad about you, like it makes it less painful. I was a middle child of 4 kids. I get that. It's something I've had to work on. And once I became aware of it, I was like, okay, maybe this isn't the best thing to be doing to myself, because the things that you say to yourself over and over again eventually will create your reality, because you will start to believe them, and subconsciously that stuff will be running in the background. So tell yourself good stuff and believe it. Mirror work is really powerful. And when you're looking in the mirror in the morning, look at yourself as if you're looking at a piece of the universe or an epic creator or the best version of yourself. Like you would look at yourself with like ease. You would look at yourself with admiration. You wouldn't look at yourself with contempt. You wouldn't look at yourself micromanaging the pimple on your chin. Like it wouldn't matter. You would just be like, damn, you are an epic creator of this universe. And then it would be easier to step into it. The things that you tell yourself over and over again eventually run your reality because you start to believe them. So tell yourself good stuff and do it all the time. It's not conceited to do that. It's actually smart to do that. I'm not saying walk around telling every single person in the world I'm the shit and you are shit. Don't do that. But my affirmation for a long time was I'm the shit, and then people started telling me I was the shit, and it was awesome, but I didn't, downplay other people, because that's not what we're doing. Sorry, I am yawning a little bit, which is a good sign. Maybe I'll fall back asleep after I record this. Who knows? Okay, and then the other thing that you want to pay attention to is what things are you consuming outside of what you just say to yourself? Like, what kind of music do you listen to? What kind of shows do you watch? What kind of podcasts do you listen to? Because that also matters a lot. Like, a lot. If you love listening to like, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of the musicians I'm about to say, but like if you're listening to a lot of melancholy, like Taylor Swift music that sometimes I love to listen to when I'm in my feelings, if you're listening to like sad music that makes you feel powerless, that makes you long for love, that makes you feel broken, that's absolutely fine to do. But I wouldn't suggest doing it every day all the time. And this is coming from someone who used to listen to sad emo music all the time. It's not going to make you create good shit. I made a conscious creation playlist on my Spotify. Maybe I'll link that. I don't know. And that's when I'm like, I listen to it pretty often. And it's just music that makes me feel good and makes me feel like I can create good stuff. And some of it's like affirmation music. But it makes a difference, or it made a difference when I started listening to that and shifted into listening to that instead of listening to like the sad mopey music. Because the sad, mopey music made me feel powerless, and it made me feel like I just needed to just be sad all the time. And there's nothing wrong with being sad. I was sad tonight, and I had to watch and listen to sad things tonight because I needed to feel what I'm feeling, which is fine. Mother's Day is coming up next weekend. I'm fully dreading it because I don't have a mom. And that's the feeling that I was in tonight. That's why I sound weird today. It's also 3:30 in the morning, so that could be why too. Anyway, I needed to feel that. So that's when I put on like the sad songs. That's when I watch the sad shows. That's when I'll watch like The Fault in Our Stars, because I know it'll make me cry. But those are things that generally I try to stay far, far away from, unless I know I'm like trying to process something sad and work through it. And then I allow myself to like listen to that music, be sad, feel what I'm feeling. And then once I'm done, and I'm not going to continue being in that state. So like it lasted a matter of maybe 3 or 4 hours until I went to sleep. And then when I woke up, now, I don't feel that like sad, melancholy, like the world is against me feeling. And it's okay to feel that sometimes, but like then we step back into our power and take control over what we're consuming and what we're thinking. And if I wanted to stay in that place a little longer, I totally could have. And I think that piece will probably pop up a little more and more, and maybe it's something I need to dig into, or maybe I'm just, sad that a piece of my life has shifted and I'm working through that shift. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? I'll get to the bottom of it. Now I'm determined to. That's what I'm here to do, I guess. But yeah, so pay attention to the shows you watch. Have high vibrational shows to watch, even if it's just like a comedy. That's good. And pay attention to how you feel when you're watching it. If you're watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians and you feel jealous that you don't live a life like that they kind of just get to do whatever they want and have people pay them to like exist basically, which is awesome, do not continue to watch it or be mindful when you're watching it. And if things like that come up when you're watching certain shows or movies, ask yourself why. Why am I upset? Why is that belief coming up? What do I believe about myself that this is kind of triggering in me? And pay attention to that, because then you can shift it. Then you can work on that subconscious reprogramming to shift it. But you have to be mindful of it. Make a conscious creation playlist like I did. Make a playlist of songs that make you feel like a badass or just make you feel good. Nothing that makes you feel like you're missing something. Nothing that makes you feel like you're longing for something. Again, I used to listen to songs that would make, like, I would listen to, particularly when I would listen to Taylor Swift music when I was younger, I would be sad because I didn't have like a boyfriend. And for the longest time when I was younger, years and years ago, I just wanted a boyfriend, and I'm like, I don't understand why no one loves me and nobody loves me and da 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 da. Okay, well, that was my belief, and I was telling myself constantly that nobody did, and I didn't give myself the opportunity for anybody to. Guess what happened when I changed that mindset, guys? Boomski. That reality shifted. Which is, great or whatever. I guess I enjoy where I'm at right now in my life, so that's good. And I think that I enjoy where I'm at right now because I shifted so much about my thinking. Because when I was 15, I was content on being a sad, miserable bitch. And I was a sad, miserable bitch. My Facebook status for like 4 years was pissed in all capitals with a period at the end. Like, can we be a little more extra, Abby? Like, why are you doing that? Nobody cares. But I was like a dark cloud of a person. And it took a while for me to like want to get out of being a dark cloud of a person and then shift my thinking and shift what I do. And it took a long time to believe that I was worthy and a creator and the person that I am today. Would I change any of that? No, I would not, because I think that shift, I think I'm going to be able to help people through a shift like that because I went through a shift like that mindfully. So that was important. That was part of my journey. And yeah, I mean, mental diet is a lot. Mental diet was a ton of the shift that I went through. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're looking for a shift, look at what you're consuming. Look at what you are paying attention to. I also changed, like, I work in a room all by myself, so I get to listen to whatever I want all day. And I used to listen to music, and I would listen to music that, like, I mean, music is music, but I wasn't being mindful about the music I was listening to. And I realized that there was a lot of music I was listening to that would make me sad and make me feel empty and make me feel less than, which is fine. But then I shifted to listening to podcasts, and then I shifted to listening to comedy podcasts, and I shifted to listening to, like, I don't listen to, like, true crime podcasts. I know a lot of people do, but, like, for me, I don't think that the true crime 24/7 is good for my subconscious. I just don't think it is. It's just not for me. Is it interesting as shit? Yes, it is. Do I love a true crime documentary here and there? Yeah, I do. But for me, I like listening to, like, something like that all day isn't good for me. Not healthy for me. This is what works for you. Do what works for you. So then I shifted into what, so like I said, I was doing, like, a lot of comedy podcasts because it was funny. But then I was like, I need to listen to something that's going to make me feel more inspired. So I started listening to podcasts kind of like this one. And that made a huge shift. And I wasn't really mindfully doing that, like, until, like, January of this year. I would listen to some here and there, but for the most part, it was, like, pop culture and comedy podcasts. And then, I mean, almost exclusively since January, I've been listening to podcasts like this. But I still listen to the other ones here and there. But this sort of content, this reminder is what's good for me, is what helps me kind of stay on track with, like, being productive and what I'm doing and bettering myself and bettering my reality and reminding myself that I have the power to do that. So that's what I've been doing and enjoying. And, yeah, so pay attention to your mental diet. What are you reading? Do you read sad books? That's fine. Maybe throw a couple of empowering ones in there. Maybe throw a couple of happy ones in there. I don't know. I love a John Green book, but they make me cry my eyes out, so I don't read them often. I love Stephen King books, but I don't go ham reading them for long periods of time. I've been trying to read It for the last year. I think I haven't even finished part 1 because it's a slow go for me. And that's fine. But I just wanted to make this episode because I couldn't sleep and the topic came to my mind and I'm like, well, I can't sleep. I might as well record it for you fine people because I didn't know if I'd have time tomorrow, the day that I like to release it on Sunday. Yeah, so I think that's what I got for you guys. As always, questions, comments, concerns, stories, reading requests, tarot requests, all of that. I'll have links, and you can send any emails to abacadabrapod@gmail.com. You know, I've got the name in the show notes. So until next time, this is Abby signing off and maybe going back to sleep. Bye.